This is just on Jaunty Jams. Cool. Sammy, welcome on. This is Just On with Jaunty James, and we've got the one and only Sam Moore here today, and you've invited me into your beautiful house.
Yep.
So thank you very much for that.
No worries, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I wanted to have this conversation with you because over the past couple of years you've been such a great friend. We've had some really good times, especially through COVID.
A lot of times in this house.
Yeah, some great times, a great New Year's in this house that cut absolutely loose. We've also gone out to nature and spent some really quality time connecting with nature as well. So I think for the theme of today's chat, I would really like to understand more about your connection with nature and ultimately what you're doing with your business and how you tie that into nature's connection. So first of all, do you want to just introduce yourself and share a little bit about you, where you're at, what you've been up to over the past few years?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Sam Moore. I'm the owner of PYRA, founder and creative director / designer, kind of the whole lot. I'm originally from New Zealand, so I grew up in Hawke's Bay, same place as you know.
Yes.
And I grew up spending a lot of time skiing when I was younger, like you did as well. So the mountains and outdoor lifestyle has always been a really big part of my journey, and something that I really love. Growing up in New Zealand, you're always out in the outdoors. We've got amazing mountains all around. You've got beautiful lakes. We live pretty close to the coast most of the time. So you're out surfing. So it's always been a really big part for me. I then moved to Sydney after uni and did about 13 years in Sydney, living in Bondi, which was awesome. Surfed a heap, met a lot of really great networking friends there, but actually didn't spend a hell of a lot of time out in the outdoors. Sydney, you still have to travel 3 hours to go for a hike.
Catch the train an hour and a half to the Blue Mountains.
Exactly, and it really just wasn't on the agenda. You've obviously got the coastal walks, which are, world class, but also seriously busy. So it doesn't really...
Thousands of people.
Yeah, and they don't feel like, a proper, a relaxing hike or anything. But I suppose, my journey with starting this new brand, I really wanted to find a balance between, what really drives me and what makes me happy, and try and bridge the gap between the two of building a brand around my lifestyle. So PYRA is a technical streetwear brand built for the outdoors. Growing up in New Zealand, I used to ski a lot. I used to be kind of semi-professional skier up until I was about 20, until I kept breaking all my bones. And so I was super experienced with, all of the outerwear. I lived and breathed all of that gear. I happened to get a couple of sponsors when I was younger, which was cool. So with my experience of knowing the mountains and then also being a streetwear designer for the last 10 years in Sydney, I wanted to find a gap between the market where I could take my outdoor inspiration, streetwear designing, and kind of bridge the gap between the two. And, I kind of saw a gap in the market after selling my previous brand to design an outdoor streetwear brand. And, we've kind of been able to carve out a pretty nice spot in the market for the last 3 years, and just kind of double down on what I want to wear every day, to be honest. And I think it's a direct, relation to, what I wear. Being active outdoors, making technical product that can be built for everything. So, yeah.
Cool. I really enjoy how you started PYRA. You'd come out of selling your previous business after that had, after you'd changed your lifestyle and your ideas, and you had to figure out a way to pitch this new brand and to be able to somehow create funding and a way to start it off. Yeah. Could you share how you started that off? Because I find that really fascinating. Yeah,
it's a pretty unique story. So I had another brand called Dead Studios for about 6 years, and I started this as just a side project. I was head designer at General Pants for 4 years. Started this other brand on the side, and it slowly got bigger and bigger and bigger, which I was able to, work full time, build out a team. We had our own retail stores. But I got, basically we always came into cash flow problems, and it was, a lot of inexperience learning along the way. As Jim Collins said, I was failing forward, but there was some tough times there. An opportunity came about to sell the brand to Culture Kings. Culture Kings was our biggest retailer at the time. And it wasn't a good sale. It was like, I kind of took it as far as I could basically, and knew that that was the end of the line for that brand. I wasn't super passionate about it anymore. It had kind of gone from a brand that, kind of was more based around my lifestyle, but then kind of really pivoted towards, being a women's activewear brand and a denim brand. And it kind of was just a bit muddled, and, it didn't have a super clear direction. So when I sold it to Culture Kings, I basically pitched this new idea of PYRA to Simon. And I was like, look, this is really what I want to be doing. Send him a proper pitch doc about what the brand would be. And I spent like a good year, because like with the apparel industry, before you release something, like the timelines are so big. So I basically I had a good 6 to 7 months of just really doubling down of like what is PYRA, what its mission is, what its core values are going to be, really kind of going deep into a brand philosophy from the get-go. And I think, that has really helped PYRA, get off the ground so quickly, because it had such a clear identity and path of like what it stands for. Our mission is to inspire people to get back outdoors into the elements. And that's been like the idea and the ethos behind the brand the whole time. So anything that we do kind of always goes back to that, like, is this built for the outdoors, So cool. So into that, the brand was kind of then majority owned by Simon at the time, because I had to give up quite a lot of equity to get this off the bat. But that didn't really worry me at the time. It was more, I prefer to have a smaller amount of something big other than a big amount of something small, if that makes sense. And I'd already gone through that with my previous business of giving up equity from the start. And, Culture Kings is a massive business. At its peak, they were doing 300 million revenue. So to have a brand that goes straight into them, be treated as like a vertical in-house brand, going all stores, all online, like it grew from, 0 to $3 million seriously quick, and that was like an amazing thing for a brand. Like I would have needed millions of dollars in marketing just to get that sort of coverage.
Cool. I think that's a really big and bold move to just go, boom, here's the idea, to really flesh it out behind the scenes, and then just to drive it straight into this pitch as you're selling your other business to Culture Kings. So I really, really admire that. From that initial setup, now your business structure has slightly changed. Is that something you'd like to touch on and share about how you've managed to shift the business more in your favor, so you've got more control now? Yeah,
exactly. So during the last couple of years, Culture Kings got bought out by a big company in the US called AKA. They're a private equity company. And within that deal, they then went public a couple of years ago now, which then Simon kind of had basically an exit. My brand was kind of swallowed up within that transaction. So then it was part owned by this USA company. And that was really that was not really ever the plan for PYRA. I didn't want to be a public company.
Part of a big conglomerate.
And I almost felt like I lost quite a bit of control within that. So I kind of was actually working behind the scenes to see, what that could look like with getting like external valuations and all of that sort of stuff done. And then they basically just came to me one day and were like, you owning part of a public company is, really messy. We'd either like to buy you out or you buy the brand back. And I was like, this is perfect. I've already been I'd already been planning that behind the scenes. And, it took a fair while to come up with a valuation of what that would look like. But ultimately, I've been able to take back majority control of the brand, which is awesome. And it means that we'll just be able to pivot a lot smaller. When you're in those big businesses, it's like moving a big container ship. They take a long time to, move in different directions.
Yeah.
Now that we're smaller again, we can have control. We're able to pivot in ways that, a big brand or a big retailer can't, which I think is really exciting. And, for PYRA, my goal was always to open up other retail accounts, wholesale, and grow the brand internationally. Yeah. And now that we've kind of got that restriction on trade lifted, those opportunities and conversations can happen a lot easily with picking up other major retailers around the world.
Cool. Yeah. So now that this big opportunity has opened up and you've got a lot more agility within the business, what are your visions now? Because I can imagine those visions would have been a little bit stifled when you were under the control of this bigger company. Now that vision's opened up and expanded. What do you see the vision for the company over the next 5 to 10 years? Yeah,
well, that was kind of a bit of a challenge for me because I'd worked for myself for like 6 or 7 years as my own boss with my old business. Kind of fell into owning PYRA, but being part of the Culture Kings business, and was basically like an employee there. And I really kind of struggled with that. Like I've never, been one to like being really told what to do, and really kind of struggled with that push-pull kind of situation. I think that's just a standard entrepreneurial kind of drive, and it's probably why me and teachers at school didn't get along well. Like
very independent.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, to go kind of back to that, like it's super exciting that we can kind of, pivot to, being more independent and
Yeah. So what would the vision now look like 5 to 10 years?
We want to build out our team, basically ASAP. So start putting, key people in the right seats and getting them on the bus for the journey. We want to be, the best technical streetwear brand in the world. Like that's it. Like that's the vision.
Cool.
We've obviously got some big players in this industry over this side of the world. You've got your North Face and your Patagonias over on the outerwear side, and then you've got your Stussies and the Supremes on the streetwear side. So for PYRA, we've been able to build out like 3 main brand pillars for the brand, which is our street component or lifestyle, then our sport and outdoors, and then we've also just introduced snow as well. So we just want to keep building out those brand pillars. We want to open up our own retail stores. I think that's always been a really important part of a brand journey. Our product's not the cheapest in the market, and it's also technical as well. So to touch and feel the product is really important. And I'm a big believer in, having retail is a perfect way to tell the whole brand story. When you're stocked in other stores, you're only on a small couple of racks. Your brand's merged in with other stock. Your marketing and your product doesn't kind of connect in a way. If you have your own stores, you can tell the whole brand story from the walking into the store, how that store smells, the type of music that it's playing, how the product is displayed, how the store staff treat your customers straight off the bat. You want to be educators towards your customers, and just be able to do all of that at a really top premium level. Like that's the goal, and then build out our own. Our wholesale strategy will always be important, but also our direct to consumer, like our e-com strategy, is also a big part. We always want that to be up there with close to 50% of our revenue. And really kind of own that customer, because
that's kind of the golden goose, right, of the business.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's way more expensive to acquire new customers these days with the way, digital advertising on Meta has gone up. But, there's still a good opportunity there to grow a brand. But, I think in the past couple of years, those brands that were strictly D2C for, the Allbirds, the Warby Parkers and stuff, those brands have grown so massive, but they're still losing money because their customer acquisition is so high. So that's where they've gone and pivoted, opening up all their own retail stores and actually opening up wholesale relationships with like Nordstrom and all of those sort of partners. So there's definitely a little bit of a change in the market at the moment, and I think it's kind of just makes it more, omnipresent as well in terms of like where those channels are and where you're touching those customers.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So your first store, where do you want to open the first shop?
It would probably be in the Gold Coast, to be honest. Like, cool. I don't think it will be in like a Westfield or anything. I kind of want to make the first one like PYRA Lab, or like a community kind of store where, you know, we can have a coffee machine in there, people can come in and, you know, hang out, and it can kind of be more of a central base before we roll out the other ones.
Before you'd roll out bigger flagship style
stores.
stores.
Yeah, in like the main Westfields.
Yeah, cool.
And like eventually open them in New Zealand as well. I think like
back home,
I always was thinking like, you know, my like ultimate goal is to be able to live in Queenstown 3 months of the year. So do 9 months here, 3 months Queenstown, maybe 1 month in the US when we grow over there. But if we can open a PYRA store in Queenstown or Wanaka in the next couple of years, like they'll be ticking some boxes.
Yeah, epic, cool. I'm really excited for that.
For sure.
So in terms of PYRA as well, your other focus is building community. Could you explain how you are going about building community and some of the little initiatives that you've started up?
Yeah, I mean, when you've got an online business, that needs to be a priority. You need to somehow build in how the customer connects as a group, as a community for the brand. So what we've been able to do is, you know, as I kind of mentioned, our mission is to inspire people to get back outdoors into the elements. So a way that we've been able to do this is we've started these PYRA hike clubs. We've only been doing them in the Gold Coast, but the plan is to roll them out, you know, every couple of months in New South Wales and Melbourne as well. But they're basically an event that we do open to anyone, no pressure, you know, everyone's welcome, and we just go for these hikes. You know, the obvious benefits of getting out in nature, it reduces stress, it's good for the, you know, the health and the mind, and you just feel good. For us, it's a way that we can introduce our product like into the mix. People can experience the brand, they can meet me and the team, and so it's still early days. We've only rolled out 4 of them, I think, to date. We've actually got one coming up this Saturday that we're going to do the Coomera circuit. But they're a great way just to build community. And, you know, our goal is to get them bigger and bigger and bigger, and that, you know, you don't have to be a professional hiker to come on this. And, you know, like the whole like term kind of hiking, like, you know, it kind of has a connotation about it as well, that you'd have to be like a scroggin muncher, and, you know, like
you need some big boots on.
You need to have your hiking poles, you know, and like that's the perception that we want to kind of change, is like you can still be wearing like, you know, your cool sweet stuff. Your sweet kicks, and, you know, good windbreakers and dope tees, and, you know, that's the barrier that we want to break down, is like, because everyone knows that how good they feel when they're going outdoors after a hike. So we just want to keep pushing that. It'd be sick if we could like start building in some like overnight ones in the future, like take like a group of 10 or 20 people and go do an overnight one. That'd be sick. We might need to develop some PYRA tents.
Some PYRA tents as well. Sick. You could do like a little one-day gathering for your main PYRA sponsors or whatever. That'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So amongst building a business, and this is your like second clothing business that you've built, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced personally, and how have you overcome those in terms of just consistently showing up for your business and for yourself to keep growing?
I think like the first thing was, you know, I'm a creative at heart. The numbers side of the business didn't come naturally to me. And so when I got put in a position with my previous business that it was, you know, going through cash flow problems and, you know, have to meet with my CFO all the time, I really didn't know what I was doing at that stage early on. And I look back at it being like, you know, like that was such a blind spot, but I just like drilled myself into it. Like I read, you know, hundreds of business books, and, you know, I realized during like my learning stage that I'm actually not a great reader when I'm looking at pages, but I'm a really good listener. And so my like morning routine is I get up at 5:30 every morning and I go for a walk with my dog Zumi, and I listen to audiobooks and I smash them out. Or if I'm driving, like they're always going, like that's time for learning. But that was basically like one of my big breakthroughs, was like really just understanding business. And you think like, oh yeah, like business, you know, whatever, it's easy, you know, selling things, getting money, buying new things, whatever. But there's so many different, pillars within a business. And, a lot of books, like a couple of books that I read that were kind of pivotal to that journey was like Profit First was a good one. Any of the Jim Collins ones, like Good to Great, was another great one. My Personal MBA was a good one as well. So any of those ones that were like kind of core business books is kind of what I really kind of drove home. But I think as well, like I get a lot of inspiration from learning from others as well. The Nike story as well, Shoe Dog, obviously a classic, but hearing the struggles that he went through of coming into cash flow problems, growing at over 100% every year and running out of money. Like it's like, that actually happens to everyone. You know what I mean? Like if you're growing that fast, you're just going to run out of cash all the time. So to hear, like I get a lot of inspirations from that. I listen to the How I Built This podcast basically religiously. I don't think I've missed one. By Guy Raz. That book Legacy, the James Kerr one on the All Blacks. That was a really good one for building culture and, sweeping the sheds as a leader. And, you're never too big to do the shit jobs, taking on that kind of approach. But another big thing that I did as well is I really got into meditation. And that was I did a Vedic meditation course with Bondi Meditation. I think it was probably 8 years ago now. And I do that religiously Monday to Friday. I've kind of found my sweet spot. When you do that training, you get given a mantra and you're supposed to do it for 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. And I found, like I did that for a little bit just to get into routine, but that really helped with my anxiety and my calming and my having a really clear focus for the day. And I've now been doing it for like 8 years. I religiously do it as soon as I wake up. That's the first thing that I go have a shower, come upstairs or wherever and meditate. But I only do it for 10 minutes. And I've kind of found that that's enough as a sweet spot.
If you're doing that every day.
Every day, Monday to Friday.
That builds up.
100%. And I use the meditation timer app. So like dings me at the 10 minutes and now I'm like, boom, I'm ready for the day. So that was like that was super key actually.
Cool. And I remember one time we were having a conversation, you were showing me some of your visions and your goals, and I remember you having them on the back of like your bathroom door or something. Do you still have that set up?
I update it like every 6 months. So part of like some of the business training courses, I've always been a really big goal setter. I think having something clearly written down and working towards it, you're just driving your brain to think about that. And so how I do it is I basically split a bit of paper down the middle and I have business on one side, personal on the other. And then I do 1 year goals, 3 year goals and 5 years goals. And so I've always got these big stretch goals at the top for the 5 years, like big revenue targets. On the personal side, it might be like build my dream house or have this car or, get married was like one that we ticked off only recently. But, they still felt like they were good goals to have. But I've always been, super into having those written down and just looking at them every day. It makes such a difference. Literally just have them on the wall like as I walk into my bathroom. So if I'm putting some spray on in the morning, I literally just stand there and I literally just scan them quickly and be like, cool. I'm on track. Because like I think everyone runs 1,000,000 miles an hour, and sometimes if you don't have a clear goalpost of where you're going to get to, like how are you supposed to know where you're going to go,
Exactly. I really, really admire that about you. And even from the sort of the first times that we started reconnecting when you moved to the Gold Coast, I remember you showing me some of your goals, and you've smashed quite a lot of those.
I'm sure I didn't show you them. I reckon you probably just saw them.
I remember us having a conversation about it, and you're like, oh no, I've got them on the back of my bathroom window or wall or something, and we're like, oh, sick. And you have, you bought a house, you're doing it up, it's a really beautiful spot, you've got a beautiful dog and a cat, you built the business, you managed to transition the business into a favourable position for yourself. You got a fucking sick car. So what's next? What's next in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to tie too many of those lifestyle kind of things into it. Like, I'm so focused on the business at the moment. Like, taking the brand back ownership wise, it was like a big one to tick off. But now it honestly just starts like I'm starting again, to be honest. Like, it's like, swear, I've now got this business back.
Got it back.
And it's like, now it's all on me again. So, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
You know, going to get an office again, like going to hire a space and building a team out and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. It's just going to have to knock out in the next, 6 months. But it's super exciting just to be able to take back that control and know that my destiny is based on my own decisions. It's not tied in with, you know, the other business.
Yeah, it's not like a relationship that you had with the business now. Now it's like just you and the business, and you can take it whatever path you want to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
How cool. It's so exciting, man. Is there anything else that has really supported you over the past couple of years to get you to this point that you'd like to share?
I mean, my family support has always been amazing, you know, emotionally and, you know, in the past financially as well. They've always had my back, so I'm super grateful for that. That has always been a massive one. I mean, my now wife, Erin, has always been
Congratulations.
my biggest cheerleader. You know, she's amazing, and, you know, she fully supports me in all of my goals. I mean, at the end of my old brand, you know, we were both living in Sydney at the time, and I said to her, I was like, you know, I've got this opportunity to start PYRA with Culture Kings, but it's in the Gold Coast. And she was like, Gold Coast. You know, she's like got her life in Sydney. And, you know, I never thought I'd live in the Gold Coast. If you'd said that to me 5 years ago, I would have been like, no way. Yeah. But since moving up here, it's been, and we both say this, like literally the best thing that we've ever done. Like the lifestyle wise, like friend group wise, the balance between beach life, hinterland, hiking, all of that sort of stuff. It actually really reminds me of NZ, to be honest. Like, I think that's why there is so many Kiwis here, and we enjoy it so much because it's got that perfect lifestyle. But yeah, to go back to Erin, you know, to her just fully backing me and us packing up shop and moving up here, and you know, and she's killing it in her career as well, which is awesome. She's actually just gone out on her own, so yeah, it's super exciting.
Wow.
She's gone out full-time contracting, which has always been a dream of hers. So we're both in deep now.
Yeah, both fully committed, married, the dog, the cat.
Yeah,
both doing your own businesses. Wow,
yeah,
it's really inspiring, man.
Yeah,
I just want to say thank you so much for your support over the past couple of years. Friendship, the surfs we've been able to have, the hikes we've been able to have.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I'm really excited just to see where you're going to be able to take this brand and what the future holds for you, man. So where could people find you on socials? Could you want to share personal and your business?
My personal, like Instagram, I put like a lot of behind the scenes up for PYRA, and just my daily journey is just @sam_moore_high.
Yeah.
And then PYRA is just PYRA__ on Instagram, or pyraelements.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super exciting to hear about your next journey as well, man.
Yeah.
Moving to Indo and, you know, carrying on your journey.
Yeah, a dream
it's
in
also
the making.
100%, and, you know, right back at you, man. It's been inspiring to see your journey go from, you know, when I first caught up with you and you're just starting some personal training with a couple of clients, to see how that's fully evolved over the last 3 years has been super inspiring as well.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for this conversation.
No worries.
Yeah, let's fucking smash the future.
Yeah, boy. Thanks, Jonty.